And this thing's wobbling like a motherfucker. Why are you wobbling so much? Damn it! Oh! This is what I needed to do first. Idiot! Idiot! But hey, look. Alright, here comes the dumb part. Alright, everybody, we're back here in the Tone Dungeon. My good friend, Mark Marshall, double phonetic, I can't remember what the term is for that. Mark Marshall, really great utility guitar player down in the big city, emailed me. Mark and I, he hit me up for some Rickenbacker toaster pickups a while back and did a blog post on that. That was really cool. But he emailed me again and said he had, I think, one of the Danelectro reissue, like double cut 9 or something like that. But the pickups just weren't really doing it for him. So I told him, yeah, man, send them in. We'll rewind them. We'll shoot a little video. It'll be cool. So this is one of the reissue lipstick tube pickups, but this is pretty much exactly what the old ones looked like. Here is the kind of famous lipstick tube. There's the aluminum bracket, there's the springs right there. So we're going to dig into this thing. I've actually, this is, you know, obviously this is one of the modern reproductions, but it's really pretty much similar to how the old ones were put together. And I was actually surprised at how close these reissue pickups were. I know there's probably a lot. I don't know exactly what the deal is with the Danelectro thing, because I know that they were originally reissued like when I was in high school, which was like last year. So I don't know really exactly what the story was with the pickups back then. I don't know exactly what year these pickups came from, but I was actually really surprised by that the quality was as good as they are, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So 2 screws on the bottom with the kind of the springs there, and then the lipstick tube itself will slide off, and what you will see is, if I can get these untangled real quick here. There we go. What you'll see is this is the coil and the magnet all wrapped up in the black tape here. And that's the pickup right there. The magnet is in there, and then the coil is wrapped around it, and that's how they did it back in the day. And I'm not sure if the pickups they were probably machine wound back in the day, and these are almost certainly machine wound as well. I think that this is the neck pickup out of the guitar. I'm going to take a quick see what the resistance is on this guy. I don't remember what the resistance was on the bridge. I already took the bridge pickup apart. This is the neck right here. 3.5, 3.57, which is totally normal for a vintage output. Could have been anywhere from like as low as 3 or as high as 5K, but they were low output, that low resistance. That being said, they were wound with 42 gauge wire, and the kind of the secret, or not the secret, but the unusual thing about these is that they actually utilized a Alnico 6 magnet, which is, you guessed it, one grade stronger than the much more common Alnico 5. So we're getting down into it right now. And there you see, there's the coil is just wrapped directly around the magnet. There's no bobbin of any kind. I can't speak as to exactly how exactly they did it, how they mounted it in the machine, if they had on the vintage ones or the new ones, how they mounted it to the machine, if they had kind of like a dummy bobbin that they would kind of wind it and then take off. I'm going to show you how I do them, which is exactly that. I kind of wind it with a bobbin, but then it pops off. So there's your guy right there. So, but I guess the thing that I was surprised by was that on these reissue pickups, that, whether you like them or not, whether you think they sound good or not, they're not poorly made. They're the correct wire gauge. This is polyurethane coated wire. The originals would have been plain enamel, which is what we're going to rewind these with. But that's not the biggest deal in the world. A lot of people will probably scream and jump up and down because I'm saying that, but it's winding a bad guitar pickup with plain enamel is not going to make it a good guitar pickup. But we're going to do it with plain enamel because Mark gets the good stuff. Anyway, this is the magnet, which is basically the exact same size. I've seen the original magnets. It is this reissue magnet is the exact right size. It's the exact same as the old ones, which is 2.5 inches long, so it's the same length as like a Gibson humbucker magnet. It's a 1/2 inch tall, which is the same height, but this guy is, whereas a Gibson humbucker magnet would have been 1/8 of an inch thick, this is a little bit over 3/16 of an inch thick. So you do have more mass. It is a bigger magnet and it is a stronger grade magnet. So this is the heart of the Danelectro pickup for sure. So the way that I do these is that I've got these like dummy bobbins made that are tight enough to stay on there while I'm winding it, but loose enough to where I can pop them off when I'm done. I don't think I'm going to be able to press these in there by hand because I'm not that tough or strong, but they press on there like a typical bobbin, but then I pop them off. Anyway, long story short, or long story, extra long story, only a long story. On these reissue pickups that Mark sent me, I'm actually really surprised. It is the correct magnet, correct grade, correct size. The wire is the correct gauge. The resistance is good. No, they're not plain enamel, they're poly. That's pretty much the only thing that's kind of the only, like, deduction that they get. Anyway, alright, we're all taken apart now. Now let's wind it. Cut. Alright, so check it out. I
I got my little bobbins put on one of the magnets here. I got the other one mounted up, ready to go. Again, these are, I'm going to pop off when I'm done, but you'll see how I do that. The main thing is that you, obviously, this magnet needs to be really, really adequately taped. You just don't want any of this wire to come in contact with the bare magnet. And I know that this wire is insulated, but that's just, you still don't want to do it. Anyway, I finally got, not finally, Remington Industries, if you hear this, you're good people. I got the 42 gauge poly, or not poly, plain enamel in the mail, and I probably won't show winding this pickup just because I've shown it on like every other. But here you do have to manually strip the insulation off of the plain enamel. You don't need to get all of it, you just need to get some bare spots so that the when you solder the lead on, it will make connectivity, because the solder and the soldering iron, it heats the poly and the formvar, it heats them up enough to melt them and boil them off, and you can solder the wire that way. But plain enamel, the old stuff, it will not burn off, so you have to manually strip it with some very, very fine sandpaper. I use 2000. I use 2000 because I have it on hand. I use it for a lot of other stuff, but you can use, I've used whatever was in hand, 600, 800. It's not, it's tough work, but mainly because you'll break the wire because of the coarseness of the sandpaper. You know, you grip the wire and then you pull it. But if you have a light touch, and once you get used to it, it's really the least of your concerns in winding a pickup. So I actually have got, I'm going to do the neck pickup first, because I've done the math on how many turns I want to get on this guy, and I'll be able to, it's going to be a lower resistance. I'm going to try to get 3.8 on the neck pickup and 4.2 on the bridge pickup. And so I'm going to do the neck pickup first, and then that will let me get my guides and everything set up really accurately, so that when I go to do the bridge pickup that has more wire, it'll be ready to go, and it'll be all good. So winding this guy up, alright, I got 4,800 turns on there. See, I broke it. I grabbed it too hard. I yanked on it too hard. I squeezed it too hard, and then I yanked on it too hard, and it popped right off. And now what are you going to do? If only everything in life was as simple as winding guitar pickups. But it's not. Okay, so I'm actually going to Presumably they probably did it like this on the originals, that the lead wires were soldered directly to the coil, but I'm going to use these, I'm going to do some jumpers here because I'm not that brave or not that masochistic, however you want to look at it. Alright, let's get you on there. But I'm going to leave them pretty long so I can have enough to work with inside of the coil. On the vintage, okay, so the so when Mark told me, he's like, hey, I got a bunch of lipsticks I want you to rewind, I wanted to tell him no, but I didn't, and I made the right choice. One, because Mark's a cool dude and he's helped me out and he's a great player, but two, I would have been you know, losing an opportunity to learn, to broaden my horizons. You shouldn't pass up on those. So Mark sent me a set, and his buddy sent me 2 sets, and lo and behold, like I said earlier, I was actually really surprised by how close they were. The only thing like glaringly wrong, like I said, was that they were wound with polyurethane insulated wire and not the plain enamel. But having seen a few of the vintage magnets, the old ones, these new ones, these magnets are the correct size. So and the correct gauge, or grade. They are basically 2.5 by 1/2 by 1/2 by 3/16, as opposed to well, whatever. They're the right size and they're the right grade. So I was excited to use, and because the cross section actually ends up being quite a bit smaller, you do have room to work inside these new covers, or inside the vintage size covers. So these have actually been really kind of cool to work on, and I'm actually really excited to hear how Mark's turns out. Okay, so this is the neck pickup. We're hoping for 3.8K. And it looks like we got 3.88. That's fine. 3.88 is fine. Okay, so that one's cool. I got the neck pickup done. I'm going to do the same thing for the bridge pickup, and then we'll go on to the next step. So we got those wound and taped. Let's see, that's good enough. Got those wound and taped. I actually just got through putting together the neck pickup. Went down successfully. Tried really hard to get away from me. I am getting the magnet all charged up here just to make sure it's back at 100%. Probably wouldn't lose much charge as young as this guitar is, but just from kind of getting shuffled around on the bench and stuff, it's easier for my peace of mind to kind of have it back at 100%. So here we are. I just potted this, I just potted this anyway. You'll see why in a second. because I'm going to pop these off of here. Well, hopefully. There, that one came off. Let's see. Oh yeah, it looks okay. It looks nice. Alright, so tries to get away from you a little bit, but alright, so there you can see. Get that light back there. Son of a... And this one's pretty ungodly bright too, but we need this one. Alright, so a little crud on here. I'm worried about that. Alright. Okay. Alright, so we got one of the plates off. The wire's still on there. It's potted. It got wax potted, so that's what's holding it all in place. And I guess I'm cheating, but I don't know what other way there would be to do this without... I've tried doing it, you know, like an air coil. I can't do air coils either. So, anyway, alright, so check it out. There is the nice purple plain enamel wire directly around the magnet there. Everything's all good. So far, so good. Where's my wire at? Alright. This is the bridge. So we're doing south up, counterclockwise. So I'm going to put this guy together real quick, very carefully. Yeah, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so far so good. Now I'm actually going to mark the center of this guy for when I put it in the tube here, so I can keep this magnet centered, you know, emotionally centered. Where are they? Here they are. I got all my stuff. Did I lose that washer? I did. Alright, it's okay. We'll figure something else out. Alright, so one end. What do we got? Alright, so I don't know if I can really show you this or not. I think this end is the tight end, you know, like in football. There we go. And then this thing's actually acts as the nut that the machine screws are going to thread into. It slides in here like so. Alright, so there we are so far. What was I doing? Yeah, let's get this guy. Alright, I had to run to the hardware store, but that's fine, because I was able to get what I needed. Also, while I was looking, a gentleman was nice enough to be listening to his, he had his right-wing talk radio going on his phone, though, so he was browsing the hardware store listening to his right-wing radio, talk radio, while he was doing it. Okay, getting these clamped down. I'm always worried to get too crazy screwing these in. Definitely don't want to strip that thing out. That little strip, definitely don't want to strip that out. Don't strip the strip, Rob. Okay, this is the bridge. I'm actually pretty happy with how these... Alright, nice. Okay, so we're looking at like 4.3 on the bridge and 4.3 on the bridge and 3.9 on the neck, and I think these started at like 3.5, so definitely a little bit hotter, but definitely in what would be considered within the range of the vintage stuff that was going on. Anyway, what was I saying? So these are getting ready to go into the wax right now, and then they'll be done, so that's cool. Anyway,
All right, here's the wax pot. It is I bought it off eBay, presumably from Myanmar or something. I think it's technically you're supposed to use it to put your feet in to do something. I don't know. It has a temperature control, which is definitely not representative of the numbers it's displaying, but you can make it hotter or colder. I've got it pretty much on its hottest setting. I've got a bunch of marbles down at the bottom so that the pickups don't actually sit on the bottom where they'd probably get too hot. My wax is probably more like 60-40 paraffin to beeswax. I like extra beeswax just because who wouldn't? Anyway, all right, so shit, this guy's gonna go in there. I'm trying to keep one of these leads pointing up so I can grab it. All right, he's in there. He's gonna sit. Look at that little bubble came up. Now it's coming right out. Look at that, getting down in there. If my phone can't focus on, doesn't know what's going on. Anyway, look at those bubbles coming out. That's the air coming out of the coil and the wax getting down in there. It's funny that you're actually seeing that because usually you don't. I guess if you sat there and watched it, but God, my piece of shit phone, sorry Poppy, just will not focus. There you go. All right, anyway, bubbles are coming out. I'm gonna give that 30 minutes, and then here's the other big thing that I have to do. I have to put a little blankie on there, and then you just something to weigh it down. Anyway, all right, we'll be back.
all right, so they're done. I don't know. I don't know what else to say at this point other than they're done, and I'm really happy. I'm actually really happy with how they turned out, and I was actually really surprised by the whole process. I'm getting ready to send these back in, a day or two, and in which case, Mark is obviously going to reinstall them, and he has a blog, and he'll do a blog post about it. I don't know if it'll be, anyway, I will put a link to whatever Mark does in the description when it's done. I'm gonna go ahead and post the video, but I will add. So if you watch the video and you like it, hit subscribe. That's what everybody says to do because my emotional well-being depends on it. Hit subscribe and like the video, but also check back because when we can actually hear the guitar, I will post a link to that in the description. So again, what are they? I just measured them. The bridge is 4.3K and the neck is 3.85, so about 10-11% difference, which is what I like to do. They are reverse wound. So and on these old Danelectros, the middle position was in series, so when it's in the middle position, it'll be a true humbucker, which will be really cool. So yeah, I was 100% planning on switching out the magnets to something else when I got these, but they totally had the Alnico 6 magnets in it and they were totally the correct size. So I just rewound these a little bit hotter with the plain enamel wire, and I didn't go too hot. I'm happy with where they ended up. Anyway, when we can hear it, I will post a link in the description. Over and out. Thank you.